let's start with Flare and what Flare is and how it's evolved. I'd love to just hear the overarching story of maybe where you guys started and what you saw as the initial opportunity and where things are today.
Absolutely. And so I'm co-founder and CEO of Flare, and I started it with our CTO, Sean Rowan, and our Chief Scientific Officer, Dr. Mary Usha. And really, we started out in 2017 just looking at what could be done in crypto, what's interesting in blockchain. We really started looking at consensus algorithms. And then we started looking at, okay, there's a lot of, interesting networks like Bitcoin, Stellar, XRP, lots of these non-smart contract tokens. How could we build a layer that essentially allowed people that are holding these kind of new forms of value to do more with them? So, Ethereum came along and kind of invented the idea of a global computer, but that's, at the time, it was, and still, to a very large extent, it's pretty much restricted to people that hold ETH and tokens issued on ETH. Sure, there are some bridges, but they're not, they haven't been fantastic and performed well. People have lost close to 3 billion this year.
Wow.
In bridges, which is a lot of money to lose. So we were looking at how can we enable those networks that don't have smart contract capabilities to have smart contract capabilities, because you've got a large amount of people and a large amount of value sitting. And really we've gone, that's kind of where Flare came from, but where it's kind of going in the last 2 years, we've been looking at really, if you want to sort of sum up Flare, it's a blockchain, smart contract platform, uses the EVM. Uses the EVM principally because that's the easiest thing for developers to use right now. There aren't any competing virtual machines, or let's call it, abilities to write smart contracts that have been, broadly popular. EVM is still, let's say, probably 90% of the market. If that changes, we'll change with it. So there's a EVM layer 1, but it's really structured around two chains. Well, one overarching objective, getting data onto the chain from external sources so that you can build richer smart contracts. This is really important because ultimately, I think a lot of what we've seen with the speculation of the last couple of years has been because at the moment, what the whole blockchain financial ecosystem is incredibly self-referential. I think if you look at blockchain, there's essentially, if you look at DeFi, there's the principal model of DeFi is ultimately people borrowing US dollars in some form. And that's pretty great use case, but we can do a lot more. But we need data in order for there to be actions. So Flare has two core protocols. The first is essentially a native oracle for probabilistic data. That sounds complex, but think of it as prices, stuff that moves over time. And then it has a native protocol, and we really think it's the most robust possible way to do it currently for deterministic data. So what has happened on another system? So for instance, a deterministic piece of data might be that you have sent some money on Bitcoin, some Bitcoin, or on Dogecoin to another person or another address. And from that data, you can do interesting things. So, one tiny, small, little interesting thing you can do that certainly not staking the future of Flare on is you might be able to buy an NFT on Flare with a payment directly on Bitcoin or a payment directly on Doge, because Flare can read that and then release the NFT. Flare can essentially come to consensus over that and then read the NFT and then release the NFT at the smart contract level. That's kind of the overarching thesis of what we're building smart contracts with much richer data. We have some really interesting areas that we're looking into how that can be applied.
Mission Control, we have liftoff.